just in case we are wondering who it is that I am, if you care. My name is Mac. I'm 24. I'll be 25 in November. I am a transgender male. That is not my full identity. That's not what I center my whole being. I don't make that my whole personality. I transitioned 3 years ago at the beginning of my relationship. So I was at the beginning, a lesbian relationship with my partner that only strictly liked women. Yeah, that could have ended really badly. Thankfully, here we are, almost 4 years later. So that worked out. We moved in together. 3 months after being together, I transitioned maybe almost a year after being together, if not a little more. I can't remember. I love talking about it, but I don't center who I am with it. I also do not try to hide the fact that I am trans. It's who I am, and I am proud to be that person. I'm just not, like, I'm loud and proud about it, but I'm not loud about it all the time, just for my own safety. Being that it is 2024, you think the world would be a little more accepting, but that's not how life always works out, and that's okay. But I thought I'd introduce myself so you guys can come on this journey that I'm going through. Legally, well, yes, I've gotten my name changed and all that stuff. That's not the point of this. The point of this is talking about how my mother's father took advantage of me for a couple years when I was a kid. And then I didn't speak up about it. I told my mother maybe a couple years later. Not much help there. No one told me to go to the police. No one told me, hey, we should do this and that. Just told me to lock my room at night because at some point my mother and father separated, so we had to move in with my mother's parents. And that's about it. Nothing really came out of it. I still had to exist around him, live around him, be in the same room as him, house as him, and all that stuff. And all I got was just don't sit next to him, don't engage with him. And I was like, yeah, perfect. Beautiful, love that idea. A couple of years ago, we learned that he did the same thing to someone in my family, someone way younger than me. This happened to me when I was maybe like 10, I don't know, and I'm 24. And we learned maybe 2-3 years ago that it was happening to a girl in my family. She is 15. This happened to her, say, like maybe 3 years ago, so that would make her what, 12, 13? Yeah, she has gone through a lot about that. Not once did anyone probably tell her, hey, let's go to the police, because, you know, it's what you tell a minor when they've just confided in you. They had called me over. It was chaos because they were just like, we need help. We need your help getting her out of the bathroom. And I was just like, why would happen? They tell me what happened. They're like, do you think this is true? And I was just like, yeah, because it happened to me too. This was my first time ever telling anyone about this because I had never told anyone about this. I told them, and they kind of almost, well, my mother's mother kind of shifted the blame onto me, then being like, why didn't she come forward? Why didn't she say anything? I was like, I told my mother. I was a kid. I told my mom. I didn't know what to do when I was a kid, so I confided in my mother, and I told her, don't tell anybody. I don't want anyone to know. But I'm a kid. You're not supposed to listen to me. As the adult, you take it upon yourself and you do something, because I don't know any better. I don't know right from wrong. I barely knew left from right. And so it was a whole bunch of stuff. All the women were in the house. My mother, they ended up getting on the phone with my mother. It was chaos back and forth there. They're like, can you believe this? And everyone's crying and stuff. But not once did anyone say we should go to the police. Not once did anyone suggest that idea. Yeah, and then after that, that little girl and I, we bonded off of that. Unfortunately, that was the main thing we had in common. So we were able to connect. That's been 3 years. She still struggles with it. I still struggle with it after a full decade and some years. And it wasn't until recently that she's been having problems, you know, emotionally in school and stuff. So I decided to talk to her because her mother asked me to. So I was like, I'm going to talk to her. I was like, so what's really the reason? What's the root of all of this? And I asked, could it be this? She said a little bit, because my mother still makes us go see that man. She still sends my siblings to their house. And so they constantly have to kind of be around him knowing what they know about this pedophile. After that day, I was looking up lawyers, looking up like, what do you do? Am I still allowed to come forward after all these years? Is that even allowed? Because I took it upon myself. I was like, well, no one's going to do nothing. Her mom's not going to do nothing. As of right now, I'll keep her anonymous if I go to the police. I wasn't having luck with lawyers because I didn't know what to do. This was like 5 months ago. So I just decided, okay, I'm gonna call the police. So I called the police. Since it's not an emergency, they don't come right away. Obviously, they come in a couple of hours. We stayed up all night because it was one of those like I build up the courage every so often. It was late at night, and I finally built up the courage, and I was just like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I already had a falling out with my family over being trans, and that's a whole different story. So I don't really talk to anybody. So to me, it wasn't like I don't want to come forward because I don't want my family to hate me. I didn't fucking care. Hate me all you want, all of you. So called the police. They came. I had to give my statement, and what people don't talk about is that giving your statement is probably the hardest thing in the world because they want the details. They want you to get down to the nitty-gritty of it all. Where did he touch you? How did he touch you? It's disgusting, but I completely understand they need your statement. And so I brought up the person in my family. I said they did it to her too, and she's a minor. I don't know if I could press charges because I'm a grown adult now. I don't know what that's going to look like. I was like, I can talk to the person that he did it to, the little girl that he did it to, and see if she wants to come forward, but I will not push her to do it, but I will do this for me, for her, without involving her. Luckily, I spoke to her, and she's like, this is all I want. This is all I want. I just want to come forward, and I want to help get some type of justice because every day she struggles with it just as much as I struggle with it, but I can only imagine what she's feeling. And because I live with this, like, guilt. I live with guilt thinking that I should have said something, I should have come forward, but I was just a kid. I think I was like, I don't know. I could be getting the timing wrong, but I was probably 19 or 20 when she came forward about what happened to her. So I was still young. I don't know what I don't know what I was supposed to do. There's a bunch of adults around all of us. You would think somebody would take charge and be like, let's go to the police. So I took it upon myself to re-traumatize myself because I've forgotten about this stuff. I've thrown it in the past. I've let it be. But I decided for you, whether you want to come forward with me or not, do you mind building up the courage and the strength to come forward with me? Because the police did tell me it's going to look so much better and it's going to help your case if she comes forward. I was like, I'll try my best. She agreed. We met with a detective. They want details. It wasn't just the first time I had to talk to the police officer, give them a statement. Now we got to meet with the detective, give them the same statement, if not go into more details. Where did he touch you? How did he touch you? X, Y, and Z. I tell my story, and then the little girl goes in the room to give hers. And I feel so sorry for her because it's more fresh for her. And, she hugs me. She's just like, thank you so much for this. And I'm hugging her. I'm just like, I'd do anything for you because, like, I would do anything for the kid. I'm doing this for her because I wish somebody would have done this for me. No one did. So we did that. They were like, okay, next step is to get on the phone with this man and get him to confess. You ask him, because it's going to be on a recorded line, you ask him, why did you do this to me as a kid? And he's going to be, basically we want him to out himself. The first time the little girl did it, because I was like, I've changed a lot. My voice isn't what it was before. I don't even go by the same name. My name is legally changed. So the little girl did it. It was disgusting because, I wasn't in the room, obviously. I told her, do you want me in the room? I don't have to be in the room. I don't have to listen to anything because she's never told me what happened to her. I've never told her what happened to me. We keep that separate from each other. If she asked me, I'd tell her, but I would never ask her because it's private. I don't need to know if she doesn't want to tell me. So she is in the room. She does the phone call. She says his name, I think, and it's disgusting because he recognizes her right away and says her name. And so she starts asking him, why did you do this to me? And he starts apologizing. But, and so cuts to the chase. That happens. She hung up because she wanted to cuss him out, as she should. She hangs up. They were just like, well, that was good. He admitted. We'll see what we can do. The detective says, we'll see what we can do. A couple days go by or a week goes by or something like that. And the detective tells me, we're going to have to do it again. And I had just had surgery, so I can't go in. I just had one of my surgeries. So I was bedridden. She was just like, let's try again. Can you do it? And so I was like, I guess I'm gonna do it because I don't want to re-traumatize the kid. And so we finally set a day for me to do it. I call. My heart is pounding. It's pounding because I was like, it's not scripted because they just tell me like, just ask, just talk, ask why did he do this, but we need you to do, because the reason the first phone call didn't work is because it wasn't explicit enough. I know. You need to say keywords. Why did you touch me? Why did you do? He basically has to say, like, he needs to admit to what he did. I call and it's so fucking annoying. He's in his car, music's blasting, and he's just like, hello, sorry, I can't hear you. So I'm sitting there waiting on the phone. Like, because I'm supposed to, I've had this planned out in my head, and he's in the fucking car, and this is as unserious as it fucking gets. He finally turns his music off, and he's just like, hello? And I tell him who I am. He obviously knows who I am. Obviously, he knows who I am. I just didn't think he would. I'm like, it's Mac. I just want to ask you about things that you did to me when I was a kid. And so I get into explicit details about, why did you touch me here? Why did you touch me there? Why did you take me to a room and take advantage of me? And why did you try to put inside of me at one point? Something in my head when I was a kid told me that's wrong. Hey, that's wrong. So obviously that didn't happen. And he starts apologizing. He's just like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to do those things to you. And I was like, you didn't mean to do that? But yet you did it to somebody else in the family. And rumors have it you did it to another little girl. You've done it to people that lived in your house, that rented a room. You've done it to plenty of people, but oh, you didn't mean to do it. He says, I didn't mean to hurt you. And I was like, so if you didn't mean to hurt me, why would you go ahead and hurt another little girl? I started cussing him out. I started telling him, like, how dare you say these fucking things to me, knowing what you did next a couple years ago to another little girl. And I told him, you're going to pay. You're going to pay. You'll see. You're going to pay. So he knows. He knows because the detective had called him as well. The detective had called him as well, and he hadn't answered any of those. The only reason I had his phone number also was because a while ago I had been planning this. So they had looked for his phone number everywhere and they couldn't find it, which was, frustrating. And I was just like, I think I have it because I had messaged the little girl that's part of this, the other victim. I asked her father, which is my uncle. I was like, hey, by any chance do you have my grandpa's phone number? Like, don't tell him I asked for it. It's a surprise. And he gives it to me. So I give that to the detective. I was like, I don't know, try this. This is like the only number I have. And she runs it and she's just like, it's a match. Scary. But yeah, if it wasn't for me asking, we probably wouldn't have had the number. And he knows we're on to him. After that, it takes a while. They have to run it through like their colleagues because it was in Spanish, so they had to translate and all that stuff. A couple of days go by. They were just like, "It's perfect. You did it." I'm like shaking because I'm like scared. I'm like, "Oh my god, this could like." I know I did it, but it's like the anticipation of like, did I do it? Is this gonna crack the case open? Are we gonna finally be able to move on? We're able to move on. Last week I was on vacation, or a week and a half ago, I get a message from the detective saying, hey, let's move. We can move on now. We're going to meet with the DA. I was like, yes. She was like, can we meet next week on this day? I was like, I can't. I was like, everything's booked and I'm going to be in Mexico. And so I was just like, I can do it when I get back because I also need the little girl to go with me. So we're set to meet with the DA tomorrow. And today is September 8th, Sunday, September 8th. We're meeting with the DA. I honestly don't even know what that really means. I just know based off of like murder docs and stuff that if we don't show up, maybe they'll cut him a deal. I don't know. Honestly, I'll learn a little more tomorrow. I asked the little girl, hey, did you want me to pick you up? She says, hey, is it okay if my mom goes? Her mom has not. She's been supportive throughout this whole process, but I wouldn't say, but she hasn't been like there. She hasn't been present. I've been picking her up, which is no problem. You would just think that if your daughter stepped up to talk to the police and now detectives are involved, that the mother would want to come and help. I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I just would assume so, right? So I was picking her up, which is pretty far from where I live, but I was just like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna pick this girl up and we're gonna do it because I'm doing this for her. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for other little girls that can't do it, that are too scared to do it, to prove to them, show people that it is possible to get justice a whole decade and some years later. It is on your own time, and you can and you will make it through this. But her mother's coming tomorrow, and I'm nervous because I swear if she says the wrong thing, like, I'm gonna snap because how dare you now be present when it comes to the DA. You haven't been present this whole process. I have been acting as the parent to your daughter, and now you want to be present. I'm not going to let her take credit because I've called her out on her BS. I've told the detectives, hey, nobody wanted to come to the police. Everyone kind of actually talked us out of coming to the police. But I took it upon myself because I'm a grown-up, and here we are. The reason any of this has gone this far is because I have decided to come forward. None of the other adults, which are well into their late 30s and early 40s. I'm 24. No kids. Just dogs. My children. And I've been treating her as my daughter because we are trauma bonded. It's sad, but we are trauma bonded. And I would do anything for her. And the process is going to go on, and we're going to see what happens. We will see what happens tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys updated. Tomorrow will be September 9th, Monday. I meet with them at 1. Let's see what happens. So we didn't realize we were running a little late. We better hope we're going to get a parking spot. But we're on our way, and here's hoping for the best. Okay, so I left the mic in the car. Okay, so now it is September 12th. I think it was September 9th. We went to meet with the detective. We met with the detective, the DA, which is in downtown. So we get there, we're waiting on the little girl and her mother. They're running a little late. My wife and I, we get in the room first with all the people that we're gonna talk to, including the detective from the police station. So he gets the time to we get the time to talk without them. We're waiting on them. So I get to talk to them, and he gets to ask me a couple questions, clarify a couple things. And he's just like, what are you thinking to get out of this? And I was just like, hopefully life behind bars, right? And he's just like, yeah, sounds good to me. And I was like, all right, cool. And I let them know, the little girl's bringing her mom. Weird, because she hasn't been here throughout any of this. So all of a sudden she's coming. To me, it doesn't sit right because there's been a lot of other, meetings that I've taken her daughter to. And all of a sudden this is the one that she wants to come forward and be in the room for. Weird, right? So I told the detective, because he had stepped out a little bit to go do something. So I told the detective, I was just like, just FYI, she's gonna come in. I know she still talks to her dad. You know, they're all acting very suspicious around the daughter and not telling her anything about what's going on behind the scenes, because not within the investigation, because they're not even present for that. So they barely know anything, just I'm assuming what the daughter's telling them, if she's telling them anything. But I had asked her the day before something I was like, what do you, is anybody mad, X, Y, and Z? And she texted me back saying, I don't know. They all just act weird around me now. I was like, that's weird. So I told the detective that. She said, that's weird. I was like, yep. Just an FYI, the mother's gonna come in here, try to act like a caring mother, but she hasn't done anything for her daughter. She said, to me, this all happened when I was young. I can't remember how young, but it happened up until say middle school, before I started middle school or something. The little girl told me since she was 8, she's been praying for this day to come, that she get to see justice. Here we are, gonna get her justice. She is 15, I think, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 7 years. 7 years she's been waiting on this day. So for 7 years, maybe 6 years, because she probably told her mom, I don't know how long after or whatever, but she told her mom did nothing with the information. Instead, not me, I was still a kid, but she told her mom, and everybody in the family decided, let's just keep it under wraps. Let's just let's all just move on. But this was my first time coming forward and telling everybody yeah, he did this to me when I was a kid. So it was very traumatic to have to stand there and tell everybody in the family that I went through this as well, and nobody did anything. So I told the detective, do not let her try to sit in here and take credit for what I have done. And the detective is obviously on my side because I've been here. I've been taking her daughter to these meetings and stuff. So I told her, just be aware of that. And she was like, all right, gotcha. We're sitting there. They finally arrived because the detective was just like, we can ask the little girl if she wants her mom to come with, or she can stay in the waiting room. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, if you're asking her in front of her mother if she wants her mother to come into the room, because her mother's there, she's gonna want her mother to come. But he comes back and he's with the little girl and her mother. We all get in the room, we all sit together. I don't make eye contact with her mom because everybody in the family, I'm not on speaking terms with any of them, just the little girl. And I just had a falling out with her brother over some petty shit, so I'm just like, I don't talk to any of them now, and I'm okay with that. But we finally sit in the room, he introduces himself again, going through the fact that this obviously isn't gonna be like a short process. It's gonna be long, it's gonna be a couple of months. Like, it's understandable because, well, it is what it is. He said, first things first, they are gonna issue a warrant for his arrest. That's gonna be the first thing. So in 2 weeks from, which was the 10th, they said in 2 weeks, I remember him saying a week, but then I spoke to the detective at the end, she said 2 weeks. So it's 1 to 2 weeks. He does have a warrant out for his arrest, and he will be arrested within the 2 weeks. Well, these 2 weeks, I guess. So that's good news, obviously. He has, it's basically, we have a restraining order against him, basically. It's already put in place for us. This man is not to be around me or the little girl, schools, near children, my workplace. I don't work, so technically I guess my house, but no one knows where I live. Her house, nothing. No contact with me, the little girl, or any little children, so to speak, So that's put in place. And if he does violate that, call the police. The police take restraining orders seriously, especially in these kind. Because, well, I mean, I guess he said restraining orders are serious because you only get restraining orders, like, for 2 reasons. The 2 big reasons is, like, domestic violence and cases like this, or sexual assault, So it's like, you guys fall into the sexual assault one. He is to stay away from you guys, and if he doesn't, he will be arrested. And I was like, beautiful. All right, good. He's not going to come anywhere near me. I'm not scared of him or nothing like that, but I am worried for the little girl because where she lives, without giving out identities, we're all connected family-wise. So that man and his wife doesn't drive. So he has to go. So it's the mother, my mother's father is the pedophile. His wife takes care of my aunt's kids. She has 3 kids. 4 kids. 2 are small twins, like middle school age, and apparently my grandmother still takes care of them. Disgusting, right? Because that means that they have to be dropped off at their house. Whether we know he is there or not, I don't know, it's still disgusting because he could show up at any time, right? And so, the detective knows all this information, of course, but that part's tricky because the little girl does not feel comfortable doing any of this. She is happy that we are doing this. She thanks me all the time. But the point is, during this whole meeting, the little girl, my wife made sure that when they came in, that she sat next to me, not next to her mother. Because her mother is not the best person. Her mother could be controlling, manipulative. She comes in and she puts on an act so she could be mother of the fucking, not even the week. You are not the mother of the week, girl. But here we are, she sits next to me, and my wife makes sure that her mom cannot make eye contact with the little girl. Walks us through everything. Next will be when we get him, they're gonna talk to him about all his charges. Apparently he's got 12 counts on him. So apparently that each count comes with 12 years. So he's looking at 100 years. Which the man, I think, they told me, because they obviously looked up his birthday. All I know is it's on October 30th, right? Crazy. 80 something, 70 something. Late 70s. Probably almost 80. So point is, he's old. They said they'll talk with him. They'll make sure either he'll plead guilty right away and he'll get, I think, 15 or 20 years. But he's old, so he'll come out when he's 90. And I was just like, that's fine with me. He'll be coming out in a wheelchair. He'll be old and decrepit. And that's if he even gets to live to 90 behind bars. And so to me, I was like, well, worse come to worse, and he decides to just plead guilty, 20 years is fine. Because let's be so for real, he's the kind of guy that smokes cigarettes and drinks Coca-Cola like it's medicine. So how he's still alive, I don't know. People with the worst health live so long. There'll be a hearing after that to basically, we don't have to go to any of these hearings. They're all public, so if we wanted to, we can. They said that first one will happen pretty quickly. It all depends on if he makes it complicated or not. Like when they get him, if he decides he's gonna cooperate or not. You know, he could either plead guilty right away, and this could be done and over with pretty quickly. But if he doesn't, it will take some time. But I plan on going to all of these meetings, keeping you guys as updated as I can about all of this. You know, he walked us through up until the end. Like at the end, you guys get the chance to, if you guys want to come, say your piece before they put him away. You can write it down, tell the judge how you feel, or we can write it down and give it to the man that's helping us in this case, and he will read it out to them. He said you could write whatever you want, whatever your little heart desires. If you want to cuss him out, I will read it for you. It wasn't that hard this time to be there because, you know, he made it very clear. We're not here to talk about the stories. We're not here for you to re-traumatize yourself and talk about it. The little girl's mother just sitting there right next to my wife, heartless, no emotions at all, with her fake interested face. And, you know, every so often he would stop and be like, any questions? And I'm here just like, nope, taking it all in, sir. You know, the mother, nope, all of us, nope, all right, cool. We keep talking about it. We get to the end and he goes, any more questions? The mother has the nerve to be like, I want to get her into therapy, anything we can do. Which my wife and I rolled my eyes because I know her daughter's kept her posted. I think within the first time we met with the detective, the little girl had told me my mom wants me to take therapy, get into therapy, and we were just like, okay, yeah, let me ask the detective and see what they can do. And apparently there's programs she can do, and they sent her home with the package to give to her mother to sign so they can help her. That was maybe 3 months ago, because since we started this case was like maybe 5-6 months ago. They sent her home with the package maybe 4 months ago or some shit like that. So for her to be asking this question was ridiculous, because what are you talking about? I want to put my daughter in therapy. Why haven't you already? Like, it was one of those where I felt like she's just like, I need to ask something, anything to make it look like I give a shit. You don't care. If you cared, she'd be in therapy. You wouldn't have asked that, right? And before all of this, before I decided to come forward, I hadn't spoken to my mother for different reasons. Since my transition kind of fell off because no one was, you know, using my pronouns, and I just didn't feel welcome. And then coming to the realization that, like, okay, my mother didn't stand up for me when I told her, hey, I'm dealing with a lot of trauma because of your dad. Just a bunch of, forget about it, you'll be fine, da-da-da. Everybody was that way. Not just my mother. And my aunt would always talk shit about how your mother this, your mother that. And in my head, I'm just like, y'all do realize this is my mother? Y'all talk shit about my mom, but you're not the mother of the fucking year. You're barely the mother of the day, girl. She loves to put on this fucking facade that she is this great mother, but she ain't shit. And seeing her in the room with us while we talk about what's gonna happen to her father, I'm thinking she's gonna go home, call up her mom to tell her fucking dad, hey, they're gonna arrest you in 2 weeks, so you better start running. Apparently this man could go to Mexico. I thought he was illegal this whole time. Turns out a couple months ago, a little girl told me he's actually in Mexico. I was like, he can go to fucking Mexico? I thought he was illegal. How is he going to Mexico? Now I fear that she's gonna tell them, not the little girl, but her mother is gonna tell them and, you know, get him to like flee or run away. But it's kind of like, if you tell him to run, don't you think it'll be obvious that it was you? The one person that had never showed up to any of these meetings, and the one you show up to where we're talking about how he's gonna get arrested and locked away in the next week or two, he disappears. Because at the end of this meeting, the detective, we're just waiting there because we need to validate parking. It was $40 for 2 hours. That's downtown for you. The detective asks the little girl's mom, hey, do you know where your dad works? Like, something like that. And she sits there and she's just like, no, like, I don't know. The detective's obviously seeing right through her shit. But there was a moment when we were in the room, we were talking about how, like, he was basically saying, like, don't let any of this, like, the long process, don't lose hope through this process, because it will be a long one. It'll be like months, like half a year, but don't lose hope. And I'm here, I'm willing to go through it. But the little girl, her demeanor, the way she's carrying herself in the room, it's giving like hopeless. But I had never felt her this hopeless until her mother was in the room. Other times she's very like emotional. She's not loud, she's not talking. No one's happy to be in this room talking about their trauma. She just seems extra quiet today. He's talking about how, like, I understand this is gonna get messy within the family. It's gonna get messy, and obviously they're caught up on the whole case. They know I don't talk to my family. They know we have beef. They know I don't fuck with the little girl's mom. They're just like, I know it's probably already, what is it called, like, built a wedge between you guys, and it got awkward. Like, what is the saying? You can, what is it? Cut the whatever the fuck with the knife. I don't know the fucking saying. It gets awkward, and they're just like, just don't let anyone make you feel bad for what you're doing. Certain things he said, I forgot. I ended up crying. I cried a little bit. They give me tissues. My wife later tells me, yeah, no, your aunt just kind of sat there, heartless, no emotions when you were crying. And I was just like, during that time, there was a moment where detective asked the little girl's mother, my aunt, how does your mother feel about all of this? And she said, oh, she's obviously upset and like crying, and she's worried, and we're all worried for her as to what she's gonna do. We've told her to move in with us, but she's scared as to what is she gonna do when, like, if he's gone and something happens, like, she doesn't think she can live without him. I sat there just kind of like disgusted that she would even say that, because really, we're supposed to feel bad about your mom, the one that's, what's the word? The one that has been not believing us, the one that's hiding him, the one that doesn't believe that any of this happened to us, the one that doesn't care, the one that's, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. But later at the end of this, because the detective goes, you guys can wait out there and I'll come and talk to you guys. The little girl and her mom walk away. And I was just like, ew, okay. But the little girl comes back and she says, thank you, Mac. Thank you, Val. She hugs us. We're like, okay. But her mother did not look at us once. I was like, you heartless. I spoke to the detective and I said, because they said they were going to keep us all up to date, like updated. They asked the little girl, do you want us to call you or your mother? And she goes, my mom. And I was just like, yeah, no. So I told the detective, I know you guys can't do much about having her in the room because she is a minor and I have no control over that, and I can't say what she can do and what she can't do. I feel like she just came today to collect the stuff that she heard, to go home and tell her dad and her mother, to tell him to start running because he's gonna get locked up for life. The detective said, okay, no, you're right. I'll make sure to tell him not update her on nothing. She will know nothing, just you and the little girl, because she's been emailing the little girl since this is her case. It's mostly her case. She's helping me. She thinks I'm helping her and I'm doing this all for her, but it's like, girl, you're helping me in the process of healing yourself, because this happened to me too and I still live with it every single day. She's not going to be kept in the loop. She's not going to know nothing. Only I will, and I'll update the little girl. But my wife told the detective it's disgusting and inappropriate that she tried to guilt trip us, feeling bad for our grandmother. Like, girl, we are so sorry. I'm not sorry. Y'all could have avoided all of this a long time ago. Since I decided to take on this case, I do not care who gets caught in the crossfire. I threw my mother under the bus. I threw my aunt under the bus. I threw everyone under the bus. I don't care. Because if it means I can heal and the little girl can heal, so be it. I don't care. I live super far away from all of them, and they cannot guilt trip me. They cannot make me feel bad. They cannot make me feel excluded, because they've already done that. I'm here, I'm living, and I'm very happy. I'm living every day with the trauma. The little girl, she lives with the trauma every single day. And so, God, I hate motorcycles. Yeah, I don't care. I told the little girl, don't let them make you feel bad. Don't allow them to do that to you, because we're still going to carry on with this case. And I was scared at the end of that meeting that, like, it was going to change her look on all of this because her mother was in the room. She texted me right after, thank you, and she was super grateful. And I was like, that's the little girl I know. Because after every meeting like this, she'll always say thank you, and she'll hug me, and she'll be so thankful and emotional. But that day, she was just as cold as her mother, and I was worried. But, like, I can't control what her and her mother do. Can't control what her mother decides to tell her father. and her mother. But I can only hope that he just can't get away and that he is behind bars in 2 weeks. And then from there, I can update on me going to these court dates, because I will be going to every single one. I'm gonna be telling certain people the dates because I want him to be humiliated. I've made it my lifelong mission to humiliate him, tell people that know him and my family that he is disgusting, which it's kind of crazy because I don't need to tell anybody. Everybody already tells me I've always gotten the creeps. I've always been disgusted by him. He always creeped me out. He would always stare at me when I was a little girl, a little teenager. I was a child and he would stare at me. And I noticed it when I was a kid that he would even touch his own daughters, like slap their butt and stuff. And I like grab their boobs in front of everybody and no one cared. And I think that's why when I was a kid and I went through these things, I thought it was normal, but I saw how uncomfortable they were. I just know his daughters are so, daughters as in my mother and my aunt, they are so brainwashed. They want justice, but they don't at the same time. And I mean, the next time I see my aunt, I want to tell her off because there's this anger I have for her because we were tight a couple months ago. And not until I decided to, it was one random day, because I struggle with this every single day. Some days I'm really good. I can live and I'm perfectly fine. Other days I'm really down in the dumps and I'm just like, how do I get him behind bars? I was like, I can't do this by myself because my case was over a decade ago, over a decade and a couple years ago. So without the little girl's help, I have no case. At least I thought I didn't. I technically don't or didn't. So if the little girl decides I don't want to do this anymore, my case kind of like goes to the trash because hers is more recent. She's younger. So all together, it's a better case. One day I decided to text my aunt, hey, here are some resources for your daughter. Like, I think we should go to the police all together. You know, I gave the mother the option, like, we should all go to the police together because I if it bothers me this much and I'm 24 now, I'm pretty sure it still bothers your daughter and it happened to her only a couple years ago. So I think we should do something and act now because the statutes of limitation or whatever, apparently that doesn't actually matter. My detective told me that stuff doesn't matter. You come forward when you feel like you want to come forward. I think I waited for her to reply. I saw it said read and I was like, cool, she's gonna reply soon. Never replied to me. So I stopped texting her after that. A month goes by, still has not texted me back. I was like, now I'm mad and my feelings are hurt because I'm just reaching out so you can help your daughter. But clearly you don't give a shit. All this has been told to the detective at the beginning of all of this, so I was disgusted by that. And I think a little while after I went to go visit because like the kids always tell me you should come visit, da da da. So I go visit. Last time I visited, I walked in. Their mother just kind of looked at me and didn't say hi to me. I went up to her and she was just kind of like, oh, hi. The most awkward, like, 15 minutes I was there and I was just like, all right, we're gonna leave. And I was almost embarrassed because I was like, all I want is for your daughter to get justice and now you're mad at me. Yeah, that's definitely mother model behavior, right? And she has the nerve to talk all this shit about my mom, but my mom was my best friend. My mother did what she could, even though she didn't report this man and still doesn't believe she should. My mother is definitely better than her mother. And the next time I see her, I want to tell her off because I have this anger towards her and I don't like the idea that she's trying to take the credit for all of this. She is not a good person, and if her father is gone and doesn't get arrested, just know that's her doing. I'm hoping for the best, and I'll keep you guys updated when I know more, when I go to the first hearing, if and when he gets arrested. But I'm trying to stay, optimistic and hopeful that he does get arrested real soon. So yeah. My whole point, though, in even recording this process and telling you guys about it is to let you guys know that this process, yes, it's hard, but if you have the will, there is a way. Like, I just want to show you guys, no matter how long it is on your time. And I hope that if you are in the right place and you have the right resources and support, they will not believe you. They will believe you. I promise you, they will believe you and they will help you. If they're not reaching out to you, reach out to them. They will keep you updated. You let them know, I want to be updated about every little thing. And they will. And I just want to let you guys know within this process that you can do that. And I want to spread a little bit of hope, and I want people to know that it is possible. Whenever you feel ready, I will link the hotline. We called it last night just to verify it. Nice man answered. He seemed very nice. My wife just said, hey, I'm just calling just to see if this phone number works. He said, oh, okay. You have a nice night, you know? And that was it. He seemed very nice. He was not rude when he answered the phone. So I will link that below. And if you guys feel you want to, you know, talk to somebody about what to do or just advice or whatever, it'll be linked below. If you feel you just want to talk, my Instagram will be linked below as well. And we could talk. I could talk you through what you need to do, X, Y, and Z. Point is, there is hope, and I promise you will get through it. I was a little kid, and I would always think that life, I still am. I am very optimistic. I am very hopeful. I very much think that if life is bad in the moment, it will not stay that way forever. It may not get better tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year. But if you are working towards it getting better, it will get better. But if you are not working on getting it better, then yes, it will. You will be stuck in that spot that you were in for a while if you are not actively working for a better life, better future. You got this. You are strong. I am strong.